Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's web seminar. I'm Mike Burkowski with TechTarget. I'm your moderator today. Thank you very much for joining us. Our program today is entitled Making the Most of Hybrid Cloud for Future-Proof Data Storage. Our program is sponsored by Equinix and Datatility. We thank them for their support and thank all of you for joining our program today. Today we're fortunate to have three expert speakers who are going to be covering this topic. First, we're going to be hearing from Jeff Kaplan, Managing Partner at Think Strategies, a leading consulting and advisory firm focusing on the cloud industry. We're also going to hear from Dominic Steinbruch, who is Vice President for Data Storage at Datatility. And we'll also hear from Don Wiggins, a Global Solutions Architect at Equinix. We thank these three gentlemen for joining us today. So with that, let's kick it off, and I'm going to turn the program over to our first speaker, Jeff Kaplan from Think Strategies. Jeff, the floor is now yours.
Mike, it's a pleasure to be with you today, and I appreciate having the opportunity to provide Think Strategies perspectives on what's going on in today's rapidly changing IT marketplace. And as I think everybody on this call knows, what we're seeing is a proliferation of data from an incredible new assortment of sources. And the statistic that comes to mind as we look at this chart is one that I heard recently, that 90% of the world's data has been created in the last 2 years alone, and that the pace of that data creation process is continuing to accelerate and expand. And Think Strategies has been focused on this phenomenon for the past 15 years as we've seen the world move from product to services in both the IT and software arenas. But we've seen it also take hold in a different form, which is that as the world continues to change, while some things remain the same and the old data issues of storage continue to baffle a lot of organizations, compounding that problem is a whole new assortment of issues related to the new sources of data, such as Twitter and Facebook in the social media arena. And the fact of the matter is that folks like Gartner have predicted that only 15% of Fortune 500 organizations are going to be able to effectively utilize that data to gain a competitive advantage. Put a different way, as seen here, 85% or more are going to fail to capitalize on that data to achieve that advantage in their own, their own particular marketplaces. So what that means is that what we need to be thinking about is new ways of using this data and new ways of storing this data. Because the old world of a highly centralized data center and a distributed client-server environment no longer works to accommodate all the data that's being generated on a day-to-day basis. And in fact, what's happened over the past 5 to 10 years is a growing interest in cloud-based alternatives. And that's because the cloud promises infinite storage capacity. At the same time, it offers ubiquitous connectivity, and it permits organizations to gain compute power on demand, and does all of this by offering more economical resource sharing. Now, while Think Strategies believes that all of these capabilities are very important and obviously have gained a lot of attention in the marketplace, the truth of the matter is that what we're seeing is a rapid proliferation as well of cloud-based alternatives. And what many organizations have to determine is what kind of cloud service is best suited to meet their needs. Are they going to be looking at a private type service or a public type service or something in between? The trade-offs being a matter of control and security versus economic cost savings and agility. And what we believe is going to be the reality is something in between. That is a hybrid cloud environment. Now, Dominic at Datatility has been focused on these issues for a long, long time. And I'm going to pass the baton along to him so he can talk more about these trends and what they mean to businesses like yours.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the introduction. As Jeff mentioned, the rate of data growth today increases the demands on IT organizations. It's relatively easy to store data with highly scalable systems available in today's marketplace. However, the real challenge is ensuring that the data is highly available, 7 by 24, anywhere, fully protected and easily recoverable, safe and secure, and ultimately cost-effective across the organization. The root of the challenge is that data growth is outpacing available resources. As we see in the graphic, data is growing at an average of 67% annually. That means the capacity needs double just about every 18 months. Unfortunately, as indicated in blue, IT budgets and more importantly storage budgets are growing somewhere between 4% and 7% annually. Compounding the issue is the fact that the cost efficiency of hard disk drive technology has flattened out at approximately 28% over the past decade. This is making it more difficult to basically ensure that data is available, protect, reliable, and secure. And ultimately, it increases the infrastructure demands across the organization. Let's look at the traditional approach to storing and protecting data. If I need to store 1 terabyte of data, I would first write that data to primary storage, typically protected with a RAID 6 RAID scheme. I would then make a local copy for availability. Then I typically need a second copy off-site for remote data protection. And invariably, I'm also backing that data up to tape and storing it off-site. So as you can see, I need to acquire and manage almost 5 terabytes of media and supporting infrastructure to store and protect 1 terabyte of actual data. As we can see here, the traditional storage approach is wildly inefficient. So together, Datatility and Equinix provide the infrastructure and cloud storage solutions to help IT organizations realize 5 nines of data availability with complete site fault tolerance, to improve data protection and recoverability, and to achieve government-grade security for data. And again, ultimately, reduce costs by up to 70% and convert CapEx to a predictable OpEx model. I'm now going to introduce Don Wiggins, who'll tell you a little bit of background in this space for Equinix itself. Thanks.
Dominic, thanks for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to participate in this event today. Great opportunity to give you a little background on Equinix. Unfortunately, in a lot of circles, we tend to be the best kept secret in the industry. But what we are actually is an organization who essentially pioneered the concept of neutral colocation with perhaps the most carrier-dense environment across the globe. As the slide there indicates, we've been very successful over the last several years, and we've also expanded our reach. We're now in about 145 locations across the globe, and we maintain 5 nines of availability globally. We take that very seriously. While we take great pride in our core competencies, I like to think what really makes Equinix special is providing a platform for partners to innovate, much like Datatility will demonstrate to you today.
Great. Thank you very much, Don. That concludes our program for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to also thank our speakers, Jeff Kaplan, Dominic Steinbruch, and Don Wiggins, for covering this topic today. We also want to let you know that this is the first in a series of 3 webinars on this topic. We invite you to listen to the other 2 programs as well. Before we close, I do want to once again acknowledge and thank Equinix and Datatility for sponsoring this program. We do appreciate their support greatly. So on behalf of TechTarget, I'm Mike Burkowski. Thank you all again for joining us. Have a great day.